Check, check. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing this evening? Hope everybody's doing well. Sent out the link a couple minutes late, so we'll give it 1 or 2 minutes and then we'll dive in. SPY new all-time high, so we'll try and work around that, but hopefully we can focus on some other things that are not all-time highs because it's a little bit easier to work with, but we'll give it a shot. Give it a 1 or 2 more minutes and we'll dive in, guys. Appreciate you guys being here. Yep, VST, we can do that. Norvin, are you in that already, or you want to be in it? Day trade, swing, what do you got? Let me know. Shares, nice. Microsoft, I think I like that one as well. Personally, I am sorry, Microsoft. Let me write and then talk. Yeah, AMD looks good. Meta, there's a big whale on Fry that bought in. When I say short dated, I mean not multiple months. I mean they bought some contracts that expire and well, after we open tomorrow, it'll be 19 days from now. So big buy order. Guess we'll get one more minute. I want to try and pull up that contract real quick that buyer that bought in. But DDOG, definitely. I'll write that down. Haven't done that in a while. But big meta buyer on Friday. And posted in Pro Trade Floor. They bought it at like 970 bucks, and I'm not super good with flow, but I did not see a bunch of sells like securing the contracts. We'll see what they did come tomorrow, but I want to show this one to you guys for sure. Give me 1 second, pull up unusual whales, get it ready for you guys. Let's see, Friday. All right, I got it. All right, guys, appreciate you guys all being here on time. We're starting a little bit late, sorry. So we'll run 8 or 10 minutes late. That's just the way it is. Glad to have you guys be here. My name is StartedWith 1K. New members, we're glad to have you. Existing members, we're glad you're still showing up. Let's dive right into, guys. It's the Sunday night market scan. As always, I start with SPY and QQQ. Kind of give my thesis, give some things I'm looking at. I see the chat, you guys. I see KO, I see NVIDIA. Tony, I see yours. Big Sushi, glad to have you here. Basically, yeah, I'll start with SPY, QQQ, guys, and I'll dive into the ones that you guys want me to look at. And then if we have time, hopefully I have time, I'm gonna go over some things that stand out to me, some things I think we should watch. Like I said, definitely Meta and AMD at a Meta more so, just for the flow hit and the chart that it is showing. But that, let's dive in, you guys. SPY, you guys, it's gonna be a little bit quicker, just because the way I trade, and hopefully it's not, detrimental to you guys. But whenever we're making out a new all-time high, which we did on SPY, it gets a little bit tricky. So for me, what I did for you guys is I just draw a fib extension. And for me, all we really do on when SPY or when anything makes new all-time high is we do one of three things. Number one, we can draw a fib extension and just go for these price targets here. So you basically draw that last little breakout level to the high that we recently did, and you draw your extension, and you kind of look left on these fib extension numbers, and you look to the right and say, okay, what are my profit targets, price targets, where we go from there. And so really the big next target for us is going to be 604. And there's some zones in between there, but for me, that's option number one. So we can do a fib extension, or we literally just ride the trend. When I say ride the trend, this purple line here. So if this was Monday, I'm on the 1 hour chart now, you guys. Basically, ride the trend. It's literally just get your EMAs stacked underneath you and just ride the trend until it stops you out. So if you get in down here, say this candle wick bottom here is this wick here tomorrow. You basically just you would buy in and make this trend if you're bullish on the day, meaning you're in calls for you new traders, and you just ride the trend because again, we are all-time highs, and so we don't know exact targets on where to look for, where to sell at. So basically, you would buy in and let a trend stop you out. So basically, if we were in and this was our day here, any sell throughs these EMAs or the hourly 20, that is a stop out. You know, we can look on lower time frames as well, but again, SPY is a little bit tricky when we make new all-time highs. What I prefer to do, you guys, and I'll probably, or I should just send an alert now, is I just wait for it to come back to previous price action, because for me, as a low risk trader, this gives the best opportunity. So we have a trend line here. Again, I'm on the 1 hour chart. We can wait for a trend line here to stop. Or if we sell through this trend line here, to me, a 601 retest. So they open around here and we sell through this and we retest. That is a spot. If you're not one to play the open like myself, then that is a spot to try chance for calls. So again, new traders or maybe less experienced traders, you may look at this and go, well, it's going down. Why are we buying calls? Well, we're buying calls, and you always buy calls on anything or shares, whatever it is, at support. And so if we see the 601 here, I'm saying try some calls there, support there, support, support, and this big wick right here from Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. So last Tuesday, last week. So all this price action here. So if we open around this in this zone here, that's where if basically if you miss this move down, so basically, you know, we are options traders. We can trade puts and calls both ways. And so if you miss this move down, the sell down, you don't chase puts here at support. If you miss this, you let the sellers take their turn and you take a small stab right here, some calls here at a 601 support. Okay. And so, like I said, SPY is a little bit tricky because it made new all-time highs. QQQ and some other stuff we're going to go over is a little bit easier to trade off of. And so assuming we open somewhere around here, we either look for this trend line to hold and you ride the trend up for the day, you know, back to this new all-time highs, or if this sells through, for me, the 601 spot, you buy the 601 calls. If you guys are scalpers, or 602, that's a good spot to try it. Okay. If we sell through that, you go, maybe there's a lot of selling pressure on the day. If we sell through, bounce and reject 601 again, you take your puts and we kind of come down to this level here. So that's kind of my game plan for SPY early in the week, you know, more specifically tomorrow, but we'll see kind of where we end up. But like I said, it's a little tricky when we make new all-time highs because there's no support and resistance to play off of other than a fib extension and some support and resistance. Okay. QQQ is a little bit easier to trade off of, in my opinion. So you can see I already have a level marked here, basically 511. Okay. Again, I'm still on the 1 hour chart, you guys. If I zoom out and I reveal, I would say look left. If I zoom out, we kind of see what this 511 zone here is. So I'm looking November 7th through the 14th pocket. So that 7-day trade range right there. And so for me, it's either, again, if you trade the open, you bounce off this price action here from last week and you take calls and you trim heavy. You know, if you're in multiple contracts, to me, this is a sell all but one at 511. Okay, so why are we selling at 511? Old support right here is now resistance. Okay, old support is now resistance. We see this rejection here. Okay, so if we push up, what do you expect, or what do you think we see first touch here, first attempt here? Probably some resistance. Do we reject down like that? I have no idea. Do we break out? I have no idea. But there's no way, if I'm in multiple contracts here, like I would say every single week, if I'm in multiple contracts heading into a huge resistance. There's no way I'm not going to sell into this 511 on QQQ. Okay. So you guys, if we push early in the day, you either ride this wave, you be bullish on some calls into 511, and you sell all but one. You see if we break out, or if we come back, or come down a little bit, sell there. But for me, either ride this wave or you'll watch see if we reject, and you can, with caution, take some puts there at 511. Okay. I'm not saying you're just shorting the momentum, but I'm saying, hey, when you take puts, it has to make sense. You have to take puts on a downtrend retest, or you take puts on a huge overhead support. And for me, 511 zone is a huge overhead support. Look at this price action here from a couple weeks ago. This is resistance until it's not. Okay. If we break 511 and hold and we push for a leg up, that's fine. But until we get over that, I cannot be bullish. I can't watch this move up. I'm not going to watch this move here. We open here. Oh, let me get my drawing. Sorry. Let's just say we open right where we closed. So we closed here. We open here. I'm not going to watch this move up. No, I'm not taking calls. Not taking calls. Now I think I want calls. Okay, you don't take calls right when it hits a zone there. Okay, so for me, QQQs are a little bit easier to trade. We got a big 511 overhead spot. If you guys are new to charting, definitely mark 511. And then we got not the cleanest trend line underneath, but we got a trend line underneath here. So we either hit 511 early in the day on Monday and we push through and keep trending, or we fail and break out, we got a range day, or we open below where we closed and we kind of sell down into this trend line here. And that's fine too. So it's even easier if we sell through where we opened on Friday. We can target this 509, 508, and this big 506.52 level. Norvin, if mega caps all green and sell together, it's more, Norvin, it's more just position sizing and risk management. I'm not saying like full port puts here. I'm saying, if you're a small port and you buy, we open it, let's say we open at 510.74. Okay, just for hypotheticals, I'm gonna draw a line here. 85. Let's say we open here. Okay, you take the 510 calls. To me, I trade the chart. I don't look at this and see a push up and go, oh, 65% is not good enough. 85% is not good enough. I look at this chart and go, hey, 511 is a huge level. I'm selling and securing there. If we break out, you know what I always say every single week, you guys, get a breakout and a retest. A breakout and a retest on 511, which was resistance, now support, and now we ride that wave up. Okay, I mean, or it can happen over here. Obviously, I'm in the after hours session, or we ride that wave up. But to me, Norvin, it's a risk management to help people. It's like if you have 3 or 4 contracts. I mean, say you're crazy, you're trading ZOTTs here, and you don't trim here, you don't trim here, and you don't trim here. Maybe that lines up the same thing, but it's like you hit all these old zones here, and you're holding. It's like you never want to hold and don't sell, and we come back and you give say you're up 100% here, and then you give it back, and now you're up 50%. Like, to me, that is a horrible trade. You sell where the chart tells you. To me, if we break out, we trend into that 511 zone, you trim there. Again, tread lightly. If we start seeing double top rejection zones there, yeah, you can take some puts with caution, but just know if we break over, you take puts here, you break over, you take a small stop. You don't take puts here and let this ride up all the way to the trend line on 0 DTs and go, one case said take puts here at 511, and now I'm holding all the way up here, and you wait for rejection, and now you sell here. No, you sell for a small loss, and you get the breakout, and you get bullish again. Okay, we are day traders. We don't care which way the market goes day to day. We just ride the wave. We follow big money. That's all we can do. Okay. Request list, you guys. I'm going to go in order. Orban got the first one, VST. So we will dive into that. He's in some shares. Nice. Not all-time highs. I always hate that. A little bit of a pullback. All right, guys that are maybe new to my charting, this dashed purple line is the daily 9. Okay, so if I go to the daily chart right here, that is that dashed line. This green line is the 20. So I'm back to the hourly because it's just a little bit easier to chart on. So one thing, Norman, I see definitely you're in shares. You're not sure your position cost average, but I definitely see a little bit of a pennant here, wanting or attempting to break out. And so if you guys are looking at this or looking at some charting setups, some scenarios, definitely we break out on this early in the day, early in the week, it's on. But we start seeing some open somewhere around here. So this is the new day. So this is Monday. So we start opening around here and reject, whatever you want to be in shares, long-term swings, whatever. This trend line is not to be ignored. Reject, 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 reject. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So reject this. Got to be thinking, short-term bearish, maybe on the day or a couple of days or this week. But again, don't be overly bearish on it because we have big support here in this zone here. So this 154 is going to be big support. And it may even come down here. And that's going to make it even trickier because it's like we keep rejecting, but now we got the support touch 1, 2, 3 times, and now possibly 4. And so VST, very nice chart, or a nice chart. We'll see where it ends up. We'll see what we got. But any breakouts over that, I mean, definitely you gotta, because like this was all-time highs are at 168. So you're saying you're in at 65, whether you're an investor or not. I mean, if I'm up on anything 103%, I'm trimming. So I hope you trim, brother, because whether you're in shares or not, or options or leaps, 100 whatever percent I said, that's a huge gain. So if you didn't trim me up here at 170, it's like we get back to 170 double top, and that's a new all-time high zone again. It's like you better be trimming there for sure. Microsoft iPad says bullish, looking for January contracts. All right, Microsoft, going to show you a couple things here, a couple things I would look at. Doesn't mean my trading style is the only way. So this yellow dash line here that is caught up and it's underneath, that's a 200 moving average. So you can see it move slow. It's a 200-day moving average. So 200 days, the moving average, versus a 9 moving average, the yellow, that moves slow. That's only 9 days moving average. So your yellow is and should be a form of support and resistance. If we're over it, that's a form of support. So I like to say you're bullish on it because me too, kind of at this zone. But I want to show you some things here. We're kind of at a middle spot. So I'll make this line thicker here like I always do. That way we can kind of follow along. Maybe you guys are not on a big screen. So look at this thick line here, guys. You can see the momentum when we get over it. You can see the moves we make. When we get under it, you can see the momentum downside that we make. So a couple of things to look here on Microsoft. I am on the 4-hour chart. This yellow dash line stacked with 422. Okay. That's basically a double support zone at 422. So iPad, anything over 422, I'm not sure if you're in yet. Looking for January contracts. Okay. So for me, hypothetically, if you want to get in this week, if you see a multiple day holds of 422, I'd say that's a safe spot to get a starter entry. If your intended position size is, let's just say $2,000, I wouldn't buy all in $2,000, whether that's 3 contracts or 5. I wouldn't buy all of them at once. I would start a position here because if you look, to me, we're kind of in between 2 zones. So we got 428 above. Again, that's only $6 overhead, but still it's a big zone overhead. And if we look below, we could argue this 416 zone is big and this 412 is very big. Okay. We can sell through and you can miss the move, but we see what happens when we get down around this 412 zone, big buybacks up. Sell through, everyone's getting bearish, big buybacks up. Okay. You miss the move up. Oh, everyone's getting bullish, 428 again, 428 again, 428. And so for me, this is literally just the middle zone, but a good middle zone because 422 support and you have 3 moving averages underneath you. So what's going to happen, as long as we stay above 422, maybe we range, I don't know what we do, but this 200 is going to go like this. Your daily 9 is now going to curl under and faster. and your daily 20, your green line is going to curl under and slower. And so you have 1, 2, 3, 4 forms of support. Okay, so moving averages are support along with support and resistance lines. Okay, these are just moving averages. These are support lines that are just move with the stock price. So to me, big zone here, iPad. If we hold this 422, I like that for some long-term or long expiration contracts it is. So he's looking at he or she's looking at some January contracts. I like that as long as the strike price makes sense. You're not doing like a 480 or something. It's got to be reasonable if you can, hopefully afford it. But I like that setup there, definitely. Data Dog, haven't traded this one in a while. Used to watch it on Flow. Shit, are we all-time highs? Let's see here. Just makes a trick. No, we're not. Perfect. Love it. All right, let me get some more time on this weekly chart. Why? I hope you're still here. That's your username. I'm gonna give you some outlook, what I think here on the weekly chart as well, guys. Let me get to drawing some things that stick out to me. Let's see, 155 for sure. That wick there, 157. Why won't that go? There we go. All right, and a lower zone, let's see. All right, so if you're watching YY, if you're still in here, I'm grabbing this lower zone here. It doesn't line up with the recent price action, but what it does is it lines up this 477.33, again, not recent zone here, but it lines up with this this zone back here from it's 2 years ago or over 2 years ago, but it's January 2022. So for me, guys, when I start charting stuff, I never delete levels because we see we rejected here. Why do we reject? Look at that recent zone there. Okay, everybody see that? That's why you never delete levels. Okay, these are computers trading, and we're trading with or against the computers, never trade against them. But when you see something rejecting, you're like, okay, I caught this big, huge move up, maybe his earnings or whatever it was, but it's like, why'd that reject there? Maybe you start a call position there. Excuse me. That's a big level. Never delete your levels, you guys. And so for me, upper range 158.6 or 160, but this 158.6 against a weekly chart, we can see how candle closes, or excuse me, the candle highs are rejecting, and some candle closes here, how it makes sense. Okay, a zoomed in look for you now. Zoom out just a bit. So when I go back to those levels, we will see how it all lines up. So you see how that 158.6 reject still, excuse me, on Friday, Thursday, on Tuesday's price action. Okay, so for me, what personally I would do, because what I'm seeing short term, let's see, why you said you're bullish. Okay, perfect. So one thing to note here, let me get out of drawing mode really quick. One thing to note here is recent lower highs. Okay, not all hope is lost, but don't ignore a lower high, 4 days in a row. So we got this kind of going on. Does it break out? I don't know. Does it continue? I don't know. We will see. So tomorrow, the most important thing you can do if you want to be bullish on it, whether it's like, weekly calls or leaps, even if it's leaps, something long term, you want to see, are we breaking out here? For me, I want to see, do I break out over a support zone and retest it? That's my confirmation to get long on calls. Not only do we break a trend line, we break over an old support, which is now resistance. That's a reason to get calls. And then what do we have? We have higher lows being set, and that's your reversal. That is your textbook chart of how to spot a reversal on a chart. So we have lower highs coming down, we break out, boom, get bullish on the day, get bullish on the week, get bullish on some shares, whatever you want to do. But that is a short-term downtrend that is now broken. Okay. But bearish, we keep rejecting, we come down into Wednesday. Okay. Something to watch here. Reject, hypothetical. It probably won't work that easy, but we come down in support here. And now what do we have? We have our daily 9, this dashed line. Our 9 moving average is going to catch up. I don't know where it's going to end up. We'll have to see the price action. But now, in our daily 20 is down here. So now, downtrend, but now we have support. So now it's like, hey, if you want to be bearish, that's fine. Be bearish on the day or the week. But it's like, hey, if you're not trimming all the way down to the zone, it's like, what are you doing? Like, you had all this opportunity to trim here, trim at these wicks. And now you see this big support zone down here and 3 levels of support. It's like, why are you not selling, your put position? So for me, kind of a tricky spot, not impossible to trade, but for me, I need early on the week, I need a trend line break and a reclaim 154. You mentioned in your chat that you want to be bullish. I really need that. Otherwise, if we keep trickling down here, just wait for sellers to take their turn. It's literally, it could possibly be 1 day or 2 days. If we come down into the zone here, just wait for them to sell down in here and say, okay, they held, say we get a bad day in the market. We sell down, we hold. We open over, we hold. Okay. We hold 3 days, triple bottom, and now we trend break. Now you can get long. So there's multiple ways you can trade this chart. I like it both ways in this chart, but for me, it's just wait and see. Do we break that early in the week, or we trickle down here? And again, because the worst thing you can do is you don't want to take calls here at 150, 152.50, and we come down $5. If you're in weeklies, you cannot hold to wait to see if this support holds. Okay, if you're in leaps, you can go, okay, I trust this chart. Let's see if it holds here, and we'll see. But it's just in a tricky position to dive in at the open. We kind of want to see what we do here early in the week for sure. Aaron, KO. Hope you're still here. I like this name. Let me take a look. I didn't look at it last week. I kind of took off the watch list, so to speak. This thick line, kind of right here in the middle. So KO, Aaron, I'm not sure whether I see you're here. I don't know if you want shares or long swings or day trade. Let me know and I can give you perspective, because KO, it doesn't move, $10 in a day like Tesla can. So it's kind of a little bit of a tricky spot. There's definitely ways you can do it. Let me know in the chat, Aaron, what you're looking at, whether it's a day trade, a swing, shares. That way I can kind of give you perspective here, because it'll kind of vary quite a bit actually. Give me a few seconds, but I do like the chart. Swings to the downside. All right, we can work with that. So what I would do here, Aaron, let's look at this thick line, 64.28, 64.28. So for me, I don't say an obvious, but an easy short try is kind of what I always say. So if we open, let's say we open where I need to go over a little bit more. Dang it, I'm in drawing mode. 1 second. There we go. All right. So if we open where we close, hypothetically, okay? If we push up, that's where you take your shot on puts, because you expect to see a rejection like that. You expect to see a rejection like that. So a sell through, push up, reject down, push up, reject down. Didn't quite get here, but 64.28 for me is the top overhead resistance until it's not. This is the top zone on KO. Big zones, I mean, we can zoom in even more and find some spots, but for me, that's a no-brainer. If you miss the calls there, you take a, with caution, short position, or on the downside, if we open below where we close, so if we closed here, we open below that, for me, basically 64. So if we look at 64 on the chart here, that's basically, if we open, we trickle below it, and you're like, hey, I don't want to trade the open, we sell through 64 and retest, that's another spot, because you look at all this price action here, like these candle bodies here and here, and you say, okay, I'm taking my puts at 64. If we break over, you know, like that looks like a big move, but look at 64.08. We're risking 10 cents for 25 cents to the downside. We talk about risk reward, you guys. That's how you do it. So 10 cents on the stock or 8 cents on the stock, you know, if you take your puts at 64, you're like, hey, I'm going to risk 10 cents up here. Okay. You don't take puts here. You don't hold till 65 and go, okay, I guess I'll cut. No, you take puts and you look left, you already have a plan and go, okay, if we break over this little pocket here, I'm probably wrong. And we're going to double bottom, you know, from Friday, this double bottom zone will probably be bullish on the day. But for me, definitely it can go either way, Aaron. I think if we stay under 64, 68, definitely. But again, just looking at the 1 hour chart here, 63.78 is big. This green zone here, this old support, I colored it green probably from a lecture in a couple weeks ago, maybe a week ago, but definitely some price targets here to hit, because, you know, as of now, trend up is broken. You know, doesn't matter if you want to get leaps or be bullish. This trend here on the short term, you know, 2 weeks, whatever it is, has been broken. Okay. And what else do we do? We sold below the 200 daily moving average, and we got the green and our 9 and our 20 stacked. And so, Aaron, if I took puts for a day trade, definitely be selling some here. Whether it's 30%, 50%, whatever it is, you got to sell, because these moving averages are going to come underneath. And it's like, you don't want to hold, be up nice and bounce and back to break even. You're like, shit, why didn't I sell? Okay. So a couple things can happen here. We can sell through this, but more confidence on some short swings if we break 63.78 and if we break these moving averages here. So definitely a couple ways to trade that. Let's see. Dollar mesh. I think I'm saying your name correctly. What's NVIDIA? NVIDIA, we talked about last week. Look at that thick line there. Look at that thick line. Okay. Broke below it. NVIDIA has some work to do. Not saying I'm super bearish, but 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we talked somewhere here last week, and I said, hey, when we break a big support, look at that selling pressure. 1, 2, 3 days. Friday, a little bit of a gap up, made some ground up, but for me, 140.78, basically 141, that pocket there. Okay, and 2 moving averages overhead now. So you can ride this wave. You can be a bull. Absolutely. Whether we get here in 1 day or we get halfway there in 2 days, but I'd definitely be selling my calls there if you're a day trader, because you have your 9 overhead, you have your daily 20 overhead, and you got this big move overhead. So three forms of resistance overhead here. Okay. So again, you guys that maybe you're like watching, like, well, I don't get it. I still don't get it. So let's zoom in here. Okay. Let's pretend that we talked about our big line, our big thick line chart, 140.78, and this is Friday's price action. So you never want to take calls into a big resistance, because look at, you get the push up, you get the fake breakout, and these are hourly candles. Look at that selling pressure down. Okay. What you do is you wait for a breakout over, confirmed breakout over. You know, maybe you don't get a perfect retest, but you need the breakout over resistance for confirmation of continuation. But you never want to sell through a support, watch this move up. You know, you don't buy calls here, 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 you don't buy here, or maybe you do here and you go, nah, I want to buy calls here. And you make, you know, 12% when you could have made 60% of this right up, and you sell people's, you know, you're buying people's sells right here. Okay. So always have your charting figured out ahead of time. You must always chart ahead of time before you dive into play. Because there's a lot of people, like, they want to dive into Tesla at 357. it's like, man, does 357 matter? Absolutely. It's like, you guys want to take calls there? It's like, yeah, we can get the breakout, but it's like, man, you guys are swing traders. Tesla 357, big deal. Nvidia, this 140.78 to 141, big deal. Okay. So again, let's see if we can make some higher lows here. You just ride that trend up. But as we get near this level, or if we break below, you know, kind of this this 137 zone, like right into there, if we break below that, like, you know, you can be bullish, but my mind is thinking, okay, breakouts are failing. You know, 138 didn't hold, 140 definitely didn't hold, and now we're coming to this lower zone here. To me, my mind thinks, you know, short-term day trading, you know, I'm looking to be bearish into these zones here. Okay, so always chart out on larger time frames, you guys. But it just, you know where you're at on the chart, basically where I'm getting at. Any chart, any trade you take, have it charted out and then make a plan. You don't dive into calls and go, well, I don't know where I'm selling NVIDIA, but you know, I'll figure it out. You know, always have it charted out. So when something comes up to this level, you literally just set an alert, and I'm in NVIDIA calls and go, oh shoot, you know, 140.7 triggered. I should probably be selling some calls here. Okay. Make it easy, you guys. Make your trading journey easy. It's the people that dive into puts or calls. They have no trade plan, and it goes against them. They have no idea where to sell. You know, they're selling puts at resistance, they're selling calls at support, and then it bounces in the piss. It's like, you guys have to have a trade plan. Okay. Going through the chat. Tony, KULR. Never heard of it, but we're going to chart it. Go, wait. KULR. I even said it and I typed it wrong. All right, let's check this chart. Ooh, a little bit of earnings bounce sentiment. All right, I can take that. Let's see where it rejected. Let's grab the top of that wick there. Oops. On the weekly chart, so numbers are going to vary quite a bit. Just trying to get a game plan. Tony, are you in this on shares or options? What are you on? Kind of makes it easier for me whether I just say, I don't like to just say, oh, be bearish or bullish, but if you're still in here, Tony, let me know in the chat. Oh, you're in shares. Nice. Are you in profit? You don't have to say your dollar cost average if you want to remain private, but are you in profit? Let me know. That would kind of help you out here. Definitely. All right, I have to zoom in because this is a cheaper name, but definitely from a short-term perspective, I like that reclaim of looks like just $1. All right, slight profit. So I'm going to chart this out, and since I always say chart what's in front of you, trade what's in front of you, before I give you a stop out, I want to see what percent you're risking here. That's a lot. I guess I could have done quick math, but let's see. Are you in before Friday, Tony? I guess we'll say that, because if you're in before this breakout, I mean, you're sitting good. You're at a nice gain. But if you bought somewhere on Friday, it makes things a little bit tricky. Let me go back to the daily here. Just want to make sure I give you some good advice. I'm looking left here. Yeah, we definitely, definitely $1 round number. That makes it easy. We're gonna do that. All right. Got it on Friday. All right, cool. So for me, on a cheaper name like this, to me, when I look at the chart, you know, $1, you know, $1, Bob. Sorry, bad joke. $1 is all that matters. It's a short-term number. It's a round side. It's an even round number. It's a psychological number. So for me, you know, I'm on the 1 hour chart again. Maybe that's not the best for a cheaper name, but I definitely want to see, you know, a breakout. So if you're in anywhere around 1, I mean, like that's a 30% move. If you're in around 1, you got to 1.3, $1.30. That's a good move to take on shares. I like that move there, but again, let's look at this 131 here. And we can see, so look, if we get back to that 131, look at that thick line chart. Okay. So for me, I don't care if you're up 80% or 3%, it's like you have to be trimming at 1.31. Okay. Because that is a level we haven't got back into February 27th, 2023. Okay. Not quite a year, but or wait, over a year ago, almost 2 years ago. Okay. So again, think as a shares holder mindset. If you bought in here, I've said this a lot in my lectures. If you're holding here and you've been holding for 2 years and you've seen an unrealized loss of 92%, again, hypothetical air quotes here, and you finally get back to 1.31, where do you think a lot of sell orders are sitting? Okay, 1.31 is the answer. So if we get this move this week or next week, you definitely need to sell order. I mean, we can zoom in together on DMs or something, but we can get in on a final or a finer level here. But that 131, that's a huge level, or even that 1.4. So if we get back there, to me, whether you want to be an investor on this or whatever it is, or maybe you found this on Twitter, or YouTube, or maybe you know the name or you know the company, but that's a huge level. No ands or buts around it. Like I said, if you catch this move up, that's a sell spot. You know, I don't care. You know, the market doesn't care if you want to go more. Like that is a big spot where we can clearly see that sellers, even look at after 2 years, this level has not been hit in 2 years, over 2 years. And look at, there's still sell orders waiting there. Okay. So you have to, you guys, you must trade the chart, whatever chart it is, whatever you want to happen, you have to sell where it tells you. And to me, 131 up to 140, big zone there to sell. So hopefully it works out for you. I don't know if it's like a long-term investment or a day trade, but definitely that's the spot to watch on this name. Okay. Checking the chat. Rudy, good to have you. Amazon, let's check it. Let me zoom out a bit. I can't remember what Amazon's been doing. All right. Last week, break over the big psychological 200, big thick line. Probably means we've talked about it in a lecture. Rudy, anything over 208? I don't know if you want swings or day trade, but anything over 208, I like it for day trades. I like it for swings. So a sell down into 208, or excuse me, sorry, I read that wrong. 207. 207 was saying corrected. So this 207 zone here. So any sell to it and hold, I like that hold for confirmation for swings. I would probably use, depending on how much time you have, I would draw a little pocket like that. And I would say, hey, as long as it holds this zone, a $1 zone, you know, as long as you have, oh, sorry about that, guys. As long as you have some time on the contract, again, hypothetical for swings, I like that. If we hold, bounce, or maybe we sell through, we recover, bounce, I like that for swings, because now I know my daily 9 moving average, look at, that's also made a reversal. And as long as that holds, that daily 9 is going to start moving up. Daily 20 is going to move slower. It's going to cross under. Boom. Like we talk about every lecture, 3 forms of 3 reasons for Amazon to be bullish on either day trades and swings, as long as 207 holds. And on the flip side, we're options traders. So any top zone rejections, kind of that 211, 212 zone, you know, not saying be bearish, but time can be running out on taking some calls up here. But for me, to be bearish, I'm either day trading rejections of zones, or any sells through and rejections. Sorry, guys, got a phone call. Any rejections of this pocket? Because this is support. See, look at, we sell through, hold, support, bounce. Sell through support, resistance. Break over resistance, it is now support. We sell through, reclaim. So this nice little pocket here, Rudy. Nice chart. So to me, I'm only bearish on, like double tops, high of last week kind of things, or sells. I really need to sell through. If you want to swing short, just hypothetically, I need to sell through that 206 because I can't take puts at support, whether it's January puts or February, and it's like, oh, we're bouncing. You're taking puts on support, okay? And so we need to sell through that. But very, very nice chart. I like Amazon this week. I'm glad you pointed that out because, yeah, I'm gonna keep an eye on that one. I don't trade a lot. This is just charting from you guys, but definitely, because man, if we kind of break out of this little action here. Got a nice little trend line going down here. So grabbing this here, that there, that wick. Yeah, we can see those 214s, 215s definitely for sure. Jersey, Ford, just giving you one ticker as of now. Make sure we get through everybody. It's the first one he listed, so we will take that. Let's check that daily. So Ford is a slower mover, you guys. You need to buy anything, where it makes sense, but definitely shares where it makes sense. Or if you want to swing some calls or some puts, but definitely let's get a game plan going here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touches there. Definitely want that. Don't know if this one's going to work. It might be more of a trend line or a resistance overhead. Let's see. Ooh, definitely. All right. Pretty nice close there on that wick, that candle close, that close last week and closed over, and then a little bit of a sell down last week. All right, I kind of like where it's at though. So a couple things to look at. So swings kind of a 50-50 trade, but more bullish bias than bearish. 50-50 because 1136 is overhead. And it's a ways away, but that 200, look at 200 creeping up. Okay. But what do we have going for us? We have a lot of support in here. Let's grab a line just to show you guys. Looking for candle body closes, wicks, whatever makes the most sense. To me, that's this line here. Okay. We get over, we get a little bit of push, under, sell pressure, over push, under, sell pressure. So for me, 1108, if we take a look at this chart, I'm on the daily chart still, you guys. So reasons to be bullish, whether on shares, day trades, or swings, is the support line here, daily 9 right here, 20s underneath. So 3 reasons if we come into this 1108. Okay. 3 reasons to be bullish, but let's look at these daily candles. Okay. It opens here. The high of the candles here, or no, excuse me, that's a down candle. It opens here. The high of the candles here, it closes. Okay. Opens here, high of the candles here, closes. Opens, high of the candle, closes. What do those long wicks tell us on the top side? A little bit of a lecture on charting or on candlesticks, you guys. That to me, that's selling pressure. Okay. But, sellers not winning through 1108, this line here. Okay. So when we look at daily candle, it says, hey, buyers attempted to push up. Well, what do? Rejections, sold down. We sold lower than we opened 3 days in a row. But Sellers did not break through 1108. Sellers did not break through the daily 9 moving average, and then now we got our 20. Okay, so decent range here. I mean, from a day trade perspective, that's a 2.5% range. Okay, so on forward, you have to look at and go, okay, it's 1108 to 1136. Not a lot of movement. That's not a $10 range. That's nothing. 1108 to 36. That's nothing. 20 something cents, 28 cents. But when you bottom tick calls here, hypothetically, and you ride that up, that's a huge move for Ford. That's a huge move on options. Okay, so Ford, very nice name. I like that name on Ford. Yeah, I need this to hold this week. Who was it that asked that? I'm trying to go back to the chat. I'm sorry. Jersey. I'm not sure if you're in day trade or shares or what you're looking at. But this is a very nice zone on Ford to play off of. A zoomed in look, because we are day traders. Let me get rid of the shaded box. It's going to mess us up. Controlling. Same thing. Look what happens when we come into 1108. What do? We bounce. We hold at close. We bounce. Midday Thursday or morning Thursday. We sell through, or we sell off later. What do? Buy back Thursday again. Friday never get there. So what do we think? Let's see if we come down into this zone here. Do we hold? You take your calls. You don't watch this move and go, okay, now I want puts. Because look at this daily 9. That's another form of support. When I see a daily 9 stacked, when you guys see me in the chat, sometimes it's like, hey, daily 9, daily 20 are stacked. Be careful here on puts, secure your puts. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to drop you guys hints like, hey, here's one form of support. Here's 2 forms of support, and they're stacked on each other. Do you think that's some big support? Absolutely. Look at that bounce there. Okay. So with caution, you take your shot on calls here down this 1108 zone. Again, it's Ford. It moves slow, relative to its price. You buy a realistic strike that makes sense. You don't day trade Ford 14 calls. You take the 11 in the money, you take the 11 and a half, whatever it is. But I like this setup. Nice request. I like that a lot. Yep, George. VWAP's down 1118. Yep, definitely. You guys that kind of sleep on these slower mover names or stuff that I always focus on in my tab, and they pay good, and they are cheap contracts. They're all less than $100. They move. Who's next? George says HYLN. I like this name. Don't know where it's at. I used to trade it. HYLN. Used to trade on shares. I was like 15. Where are we at? We're at 3. Ooh. It's been a minute. Yeah, I trade that back here. Dang. Seen better days, but someone charted it. Maybe you requested it a couple weeks ago. Let's see. Bullish on shares. George, what's your average, if you don't mind? Because I think this might have been you asking. Nice trade. Man, I hope this was you asking, because that's a hell of a breakout if we got what you wanted out of that. Because I feel like someone asked this not too long ago. But for what it's worth, yeah, 390. So you're either in a loss still or you just bought. But regardless, that's not the point. So 390. All right. Let's see where that 390 lines up. Yep, big spot there. Big rejections. If you're just starting your position, I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm not a financial expert, but to me, when I see this here, this is that's 2 years ago. Over 2 years ago, almost 3, February 2022. Same thing. So if we didn't catch this trend, this long swing on shares, on calls, whatever it is, and you miss that, it's like 390, 391, up to 4, they're still sellers though. So for me, definitely let's look to see this week. We're making, we're trending down, recent price action, but not all hope was lost, like I say, because we got a lot of price action here around this zone. Like when I say price action, a lot of movement. Like look at where either all those candle bodies closed or opened at, and where the movement is. A lot of activity here at 371. So if 371 holds, I know you're bullish on it. Ideally, break over, hold, kind of best case scenario, consolidate. That's okay. You're not making money, but guess what? You're not losing. Consolidation is going to lead to an expansion, either breakout or a breakdown. Maybe it's a day, maybe it's a week, a month, we don't know. But this big move happens. You want to see this 370 hold, and now get those moving averages. When we start consolidating, those moving averages are going to say, hey, I'm catching up. Here I am. And now support. Okay. So that'd be ideal. Ideal situation is that 370 holds. If not, it's just on your risk tolerance. We'll have to see kind of, what buyers want to do there at that 371, because that's a big spot there. We can see, we can look left. I didn't look left yet. I didn't cheat, but look at how much that matters there, that 371. When you get over that, it's on for a leg up, but we need to get over that level. All right, guys, I'm caught up. I want to talk about Meta. I think it's important. What I tell you does not mean be just full port bullish, blind bullish, but I just want to show you this, you guys. See if I can get this here. Hold on one second. All right. So this came in on Friday, and I'm just sharing it because I think sharing is caring. So on Friday, somebody in a 5-minute time span bought 1,036 contracts of the 580 call. It expired in 18 days, and they spent $1 million on it. Okay. That's this big green buy in here. Okay. When you see red bars, that's some, price activity on the option contracts at the bids. We assume that was a sell. So they bought in at 969, meaning $970, and it peaked to 1,400. Okay. There's some selling throughout the day, but there's not a big spike selling. So I'm going to check back Monday, you guys, and kind of see what that whale is doing. But that kind of stands out, because normally when you see $1 million bet, it's like a leap, maybe it's a hedge. I'm not the pro at flow, but usually I can check with Telio or someone else and I say, okay, what do we see here? Was it hedge or whatever? But for me, that buy-in says only 5%. So 5% of their $1 million was a multi-point, spread. So to me, if I'm reading it right, that's a directional buy. Maybe they bought leap puts, I don't know. But anyways, that came in, you guys, at the open on Friday. So obviously some of it's hindsight. They bought in somewhere down here. It peaked at 1,400 a contract, and there's some selling there on that contract, but not a lot. So let's see what we get, you guys, on Meta. Yeah, Aaron. Okay, brother. Sorry, I'm calling you out, man. Aaron says that was me. But okay, from a chart perspective, you guys, regardless of flow, I think this 577, this 578 zone, so 577.65 to 578, I think it's something to watch on Meta. Okay, because we continue to see attempted breakouts over, and we even see it Friday, attempted breakout over, rejection, and big rejection at that, $4 sell down. Okay, so that's something to watch. So now that we got some moving averages, some EMAs curling underneath, we're setting some higher lows. I always say that wrong, but higher low. Okay, so now what are we gonna do during the week, early this week? Are we gonna break out and we're gonna go, or we're gonna sell down and reject? So again, just because you see flow, you guys, don't dive in, don't full port just because I showed you something, but it's just something to watch. I know you guys like to trade the big tech names, but let's watch this. And even, I'm gonna set an alert here because I want to see, do we get that breakout this week? I just want to point it out because it's something, again, that, like I said, It's not often on my scanner that I do. I'll see $200,000 bets, $100,000 bets, $60,000, but this, this was $1 million bet. That's pretty big, and it wasn't something stupid out of the money. It made sense. At the time of the bet, it was 2% of the money. Okay, but again, rejections. But if we break that, when you see those huge moves up, when Tesla makes huge moves, and you're like, man, when's it going to come down? That's just people trying to short it, and just keeps going up more and more and more. Let's see if we get that meta again. I know I got excited on AMD a couple weeks ago about a cup and handle that completely failed. Maybe this fails too. Maybe we check back next week and we're under 570 and whatever. But just something to watch on some flow, you guys. I wanted to share with you guys. It's a team effort in this group. So that is just one name I wanted to show you guys. I want to come back to AMD. Let me zoom out here. I know we talked here about a cup and handle that wasn't. It was just a cup and no handle. But again, let me zoom in here. I know we talked about this on AMD because we had this drawn here last week. But look at, we're on the 4-hour chart, you guys. And what did it do? According to our hypothetical plan last week, we sold down into a trend line. We sold down into demand or support, whatever you want to call it, and it held. Bulls are not, making much progress, but guess what? Sellers are not breaking below the zone we want to watch. So for me, AMD early in the week, I want to see a breakout over 139. I need to see that. Well, let me back up. To day trade, I'll take it either way. I'm fine. But for swings for me, I want to see a reclaim of an old support, which is now resistance, and I want to see a breakout over that. So for me, if you guys are swing traders, I want to see a break and a hold over that. I don't mean a 5-minute hold or on the 1-minute chart. I want to see daily closes, 4-hour closes over this level, because look at our 9. Our 9 is curling, and now it's curling up. So now it's going to be another form of support. Okay. But if this 139 keeps rejecting, I'm definitely not swinging long in AMD. I could be wrong, but I need to see a level break for me to swing. Otherwise, I'm day trading puts with caution here at 139, looking for these lower zones here. Okay. A couple small port names for you guys that maybe like them, don't like them, but I trade them. Let me see what I think is most important, since of course we're short on time. Bank of America. I am watching for continued rejections at 47.88, basically 48 level. On a weekly chart, I don't know if this all-time highs or, yeah. So let me zoom up or extend this. Let's look at this 48 here over on the right side, 48. And now we zoom left. Again, seems like the theme tonight over 2 years ago. Look at that 48 zone. Once we get over it, or excuse me, once we get under, when we retest it, those failed breakouts. Okay. I'm watching this. I'm not super bearish on the sector or the name, but I'm also not blindly bullish on a level, meaning I always know where I'm at on the chart, and we're still rejecting that 48 level. Okay. So nearly on the day, a triple top, multi-day, 1, 2, 3. And we had a little bit of a hard sell in that half day tomorrow or on Friday. So for me, early in the week, Bank of America, the ticker's BAC. I want to see, and I want to say, hey, do we continue to reject this 48 zone here? Okay. If not, what do we have below? This big 47 zone here below, and a daily 9 moving average below, not far below. Okay. So again, it's literally like a $1 range. But if you catch this rejection here and you sell through and you catch this whole move down, that's going to pay very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. A weekly, 1 week out, 2 weeks out, whatever it is. Okay. Or we bought them, we trickle down into here. Buyer calls bounce off there. Buyer calls bounce off there. Double bottom, definitely. But a very nice range on Bank of America again. And so again, our moving averages are hourly 20 for the first time in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, have now curled, and now those are overhead. That is a trend reversal short term. Now there's overhead. So I'm looking to see, do we reject and break out or reject and keep coming down? Okay. Bank of America, BAC. Again, you guys can get these contracts like weekly contracts, you guys that always have small ports and complain. Weekly contract. You can buy a contract 2 weeks out, $75. Okay. It's cheap. It's cheap, cheap, cheap. GM. I wrote this down. Need to remember why I wrote this down. Oh, definitely. Okay. Again, cheesy. Thick line. 56 level, 55.91. Sold through it. This was news, I think. This was like tariff news from Trump. But anyway, sold down, attempted breakout, rejected Thursday. Gapped up, breakouts failed. What we do, we sold through it again. Okay. So this may be my tab earlier this week. My plan is I'm watching rejections here at 56. Do we come in, reject? Do we come in here, break out? I'll get long over 56, but I'm not going to watch this move up and then take calls at 56. I need to break out over and hold or break and run with it. But this 56 is huge this week on GM, General Motors. Again, these contracts are really cheap as well. So early in the week, I think it's a very nice setup, you guys, that trade these cheaper names, looking for some rejections here or a breakout and go, or an open below Friday's low. So I drew that line here just quickly for class. If we open below that, you use that as your resistance for an entry point for puts, or open over, bounce a little bit and hold. That's where you can safely take your calls, because what is that? That's a double bottom on Friday and Monday. Okay. So GM's setting up as well. Some very nice steps, you guys, in the market. Going back, let's see. Just check on the chat here. All right, guys, I think we're caught up with that. Technically speaking, we went 1 hour and 4 minutes, so I think I'll end it at that, you guys. But I appreciate you guys being here. You guys, if you have questions on charting, send me a DM. Say, hey, I'm looking at this. I want to be bullish. I want to do some swings on this. What do you think? Here's my chart. Let me know, you guys, and I'll help you out best I can. But let's have a good week, you guys. We got a full week of trading next week. I appreciate y'all for being here. But with that, I'm going to end the chat tonight. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.